September 11th.
The top floors collapsed down.
Oh, thank God I'm alive.
That was then.
This is now. Good evening. I'm Ernie Anastas.
And I'm Dana Tyler. This is a special edition of Nightcast, September 11th, then and now.
We've heard so many amazing survivor stories, but tonight a story you have never heard before.
CBS 2's Todd McDermott introduces us to two men who watched the plane smash into their office and still made it out alive.
From the ground, we watched in horror as United Flight 175 slammed into Tower 2. Now imagine being Loan Officer Stanley Premnath. He was on the 81st floor.
Here I see the biggest aircraft ever bearing down on me, eye level. Now my mind is reacting fast, and this plane is coming with a lot of speed. I can still hear the sound.
Upon impact, Stanley dove underneath his steel desk. Hundreds perished instantly, including 18 of Stanley's Fuji Bank colleagues. But somehow, he survived.
I'm scared more than anything. When that plane crash landed in the building, the bottom wing was stuck in my office door 20 feet from where I was under the desk. And I'm thinking in my mind, it's going to burn and I'm going to die.
Trapped under piles of debris, Stanley thought there was no way out. But then, out of the darkness, came a light.
I could hear a banging on the wall or banging on something, and this voice calling in the darkness, "Help me, I'm buried, I can't breathe."
Armed with a flashlight, Eurobroker's Vice President Brian Clark was escaping down the tower's one remaining staircase when he came to Stanley's rescue.
Two men alive on that floor. Somehow he finds you and pulls you out of the rubble.
I'm thinking in my heart, am I dreaming? Am I really seeing a light?
He said, "I'm Stanley," and I said, "I'm Brian. Come on, let's get out of here." And we made our way back to the stairs, and we started down.
But the smoke-filled staircase was filled with people running up, thinking safety could be found on the roof.
My instinct was to keep descending to test what was there.
Against all odds, the men reached the ground floor.
The only people we saw there were firefighters and cops, and they were cheering us on. Run, run, get out of the building.
The two men ran to nearby Trinity Church for safety.
This is where we reached, and we held onto this fence, and I'm telling him, Brian, this building is going.
And I said, "There's no way." I said, "Those are steel structures. That's just carpeting and newspapers and furniture that's burning." And as I said that, the building just imploded.
The tower they had escaped just minutes before was now a smoldering graveyard of dust, debris, and ash. They couldn't have known then they were two of just 4 people working in offices above where the plane hit Tower 2 who survived.
It's just a sickening feeling.
In the 6 months since that devastating day, Brian has returned to work and now manages his company's relief fund, which helps the families of the 61 employees they lost.
I'm sad, very sad, that these people aren't with us, because they were wonderful people. But you can't change it. So it's wasted effort to feel guilty.
Guilt is something that Stanley still struggles with.
My friends who went down when the building went, I still think about them. I still see them in my dreams. I still hear their screams. I still feel that dreadful day.
Todd McDermott, CBS 2.
The tragedy of September 11th has affected almost all of us, especially members of New York's bravest, who lost 343 firefighters in the attack. How do they race into deadly situations with the tragedy so fresh in their minds? CBS 2's Penny Crone joins us live on the East Side now with their story tonight. Penny.
Well, it's been a very difficult night for every firefighter in our city. Now, the men of Engine 8, Ladder 2 lost 10 members. They were inside tonight. They were watching the special. At the same time, they were also going on runs, protecting all of us. But tonight is a very solemn night. The men of Engine 7 and Ladder 1 that you saw in our special watched the 2-hour show together in their kitchen. Out of respect to them and their victims' families, we kept our distance tonight. Those I spoke with, though, were clearly moved by the show. So many of their brothers perished, but not one of us can ever distance ourselves from September 11th. And for every rescue worker, it's as if it all happened yesterday.
We will not tire, we will not falter, and we will not fail.
One of the guys, Jimmy Lennox, who was so moved by President Bush's speech that he took his slogan, had it made up, and then put it on the rig himself.
We will not tire, we will not falter, we will not fail. Words the president said days after September 11th. Words the firefighters at Ladder 37, Engine 79 will keep in their hearts and on their fire trucks forever.
The president reflected the sentiments of all the firemen and their families, especially after that tragedy. He was very self-assuring and assertive, and we're just very proud to be part of this company, and I think the public is very much behind us now.
It's back to the everyday job of being a firefighter. It appears the days, weeks, and months since September 11th have eased the heartbreak for our bravest. But it hasn't.
Jerry Schrang, who was killed from Rescue 3 in the World Trade Center.
Oh, I miss my buddies, first of all. And I really don't know. I really don't know. Right now, it's really not fun coming to work anymore like it used to be. You know, it's just you come in and you have memories of your friends that you lost.
Bill Shue has worked at Ladder 2, Engine 8 on Manhattan's East Side for 18 years. On September 11th, every firefighter assigned to Ladder 2 was killed when the Trade Center fell. Those who were off duty and survived think now not only about their brothers, but about change.
Safety of the men first, and then how to get people out to safety or part of the building where they need to be in a safe area.
More so than before September 11th?
Yes, definitely.
The meal for these men isn't only nourishing, it's a time to bond. The kitchen here at Engine 8 Ladder 2 is a lot different now. Yes, there's the firehouse humor.
Penny doesn't like my disgusting looking zucchini. But once it's all said and done, she's going to love it.
I love it. I love it. And just being with these very special men isn't good. It's great. The men who so bravely gave their lives for all of us watch over their brothers here and at every firehouse in our city. The men are surrounded by memories, like John Curatolo. His brother Robert worked at a firehouse a few blocks away. John carries his brother's picture in his helmet, and his locker is adorned with what was left of Robert's gear.
I'm going to stay right here. I'm one house away from where my brother was, and this is where I want to be.
For these men, time hasn't healed their wounds, but they're heroes, and their dedication hasn't changed, and they say it never will.
We will not tire, we will not falter, and we will not fail.
And there isn't much else to say except from all of us at CBS 2 to all of our rescue workers and all of our firefighters, thank you. Reporting from the East Side, I'm Penny Crone, CBS 2 Nightcast. Now back to you, Dana.
Penny, thank you. The New York City Port Authority and police departments were also devastated on that fateful day, but these are not lives lost in vain. Instead, the departments are dramatically changing how they work in order to save future lives. Our Kirsten Cole is live in Lower Manhattan to explain that for us. Kirsten.
Dana, most of us have felt a change in the air since the attacks happened, and that change definitely extends to our relationship with law enforcement. Many of us now feeling a newfound empathy for men and women who never know what they'll face. We see them every day, walking a beat, working a police line, or just cruising through their precinct. But seldom do we think of the officers of the NYPD as people with faces and families, or about the danger they never know is coming until they're in the thick of it. 6 months ago, it swallowed them up and took 23 of New York's finest, 37 from the Port Authority, away from us forever. But from every battle, the soldiers learn lessons. Police Commissioner Ray Kelly is still studying, learning how the public's perception can change.
The public is a lot more receptive to police practices, you might say, you know, they're being stopped or traffic stops, that sort of thing. And you can feel it.
And things are already changing for cadets. with expedited courses at the Port Authority Academy. Kelly says even more changes are planned for the NYPD, since they've gone from fighting the crimes of an overwhelming city to trying to beat back global terrorism targeting Gotham. But they're facing a shrinking force and the specter of the past. The shooting of an unarmed Amadou Diallo by 4 police officers, the savage precinct house attack on Abner Louima, and the buy and bust operation gone bad that killed Patrick Dorismond. The shooting here of Patrick Dorismond, as well as that of Amadou Diallo and the attack on Abner Louima, were the height of the public's perception of a heavy-handed NYPD. But much of that has changed, according to the top brass at our city's police department, right down to the man on the street. And a lot of that has to do with September 11th.
Before that, you basically had a, at least in minorities, a somewhat callous police department. You put a human face to it.
It's nice to have people come up and say, you're doing a good job and we appreciate that you're here. And that's all we look for. And it's sad that it took maybe something like this to get the people to recognize that.
It's a very difficult job to do, a difficult job to do well.
You do have a little bit more respect from people.
I'd say that, the NYPD got a lot of bad press before September 11th. I think maybe, I don't know, it's a little bit more of a prideful thing to be a cop nowadays.
They see now that NYPD is more than just police officers, that they were people.
People who will never forget all that has been done for us.
And that was Kirsten Cole.
Coming up, 6 months after the tragedy, how safe is the air near Ground Zero? The surprising answer next. Plus, how an office worker turned into an instant hero to save a woman's life.
Get her out of here. I'm going to get myself out of here, and I'm going home.
And recovery workers describe what it's like being at Ground Zero 7 days a week for the past 6 months. We'll be back. How safe is New York City's air since 9/11? Well, that depends on whom you ask.
Well, the EPA says that there is no danger to the general public, but doctors are seeing first-time asthma and other respiratory conditions in people who live near Ground Zero.
CBS 2 Health Watch reporter Paul Moniz has been investigating the air quality issue since day one. He joins us live from Ground Zero tonight. Paul?
Ernie and Dana, when the EPA says the air is safe, the agency is referring to outdoor air. The fact is, no one knows just how safe indoor spaces are because no government agency has done widespread testing. 6 months after 9/11, and many residents are still battling with their landlords over testing and costly cleanup. Some have grown frustrated and have begun cleaning up themselves, despite the potential risks.
You want to take your coat off?
At the Jarinko residence, hospitality is measured in plastic bags, masking tape, rubber gloves, and face masks. Protection from toxic particles brought in when the World Trade Center blast blew out all 17 of their windows. This is what the place looked like 1 week after the attack. 6 months later, it's still uninhabitable.
Sometimes it's hard to even put it into words, so overwhelming, this experience.
Fashion designer Pat Jarinko and her artist husband Andy live at 125 Cedar Street, just 300 feet from where the South Tower once stood.
We're going to be here while they're rebuilding.
From their living room, the Jarinkos see signs of progress, a nearly cleared debris field, the reopening of mega discounter Century 21. Yet it seems they are stuck in time.
Yeah, everything is covered here.
Andy's art is encased in dust. Their artist studios are trashed. They've been forced to move to Brooklyn Heights. And because no government agency will pay for a $25,000 professional cleaning, which they can't afford, they vacuum and clean themselves, breathing in potentially deadly compounds.
There's asbestos, there's lead, there's silicates, there might be mercury.
The Jarinkos do wear face masks, but as we saw in our visit, they are so hot and uncomfortable it is difficult to wear them for long periods, and often they take them off.
The evidence here is...
The Jarinkos are among a growing chorus of concerned residents worried about the safety of the air they breathe, especially indoors. The EPA has conducted thousands of tests on outdoor air and maintains there's no danger to the general public. But no agency is doing widespread indoor air testing. a fact Congressman Gerald Nadler blasted at a recent hearing.
This is absolutely unacceptable.
Private contractors working for landlords have detected everything from asbestos to dioxins and mercury inside apartments and offices. Spikes of lead have caused concern at Stuyvesant High School and PS 89. Meanwhile, the Jerinkos are determined, trying to piece their lives back one item at a time.
This is my home. I want to come back here. Yeah, I can imagine living my life and dying here.
But in the back of Pat's mind, she knows what's in her apartment could kill her. Back here live at Ground Zero, it's important to keep in mind that many of the toxins from the site behind me are actually invisible and odorless, things like asbestos and mercury. And because you can't see or smell them, you may be thinking that your apartment or office is safe when it may not be. Tomorrow, for the first time, a recently established indoor air task force by the EPA will meet. We will have more on that, of course, tomorrow, and many people are calling for door-to-door testing to make sure that all indoor spaces are safe. Reporting live from Ground Zero, Paul Moniz, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Now let's take a look behind the headlines to understand the enormity of the task at Ground Zero. The recovery site covers 16 acres of land. The pit is some 7 stories or 70 feet deep. Workers are expected to finish clearing debris by this summer, several months ahead of schedule. And there was enough concrete in the World Trade Center to build a pavement from New York to Washington. And there was enough steel to build another 3 Brooklyn bridges.
From 3,000 emergency workers every day and every night back in September to about 1,000 a day now for the past 6 months, construction crews, firefighters, police officers, and EMTs have worked together to clean up Ground Zero and search for any victims. Tonight, they describe the incredible physical and emotional challenges of that job.
What you see on TV and what you see in the paper just does not reflect the magnitude, the intensity of what's here.
They have cleared more than 1 million tons of debris and recovered thousands of buried souls.
It's been really rough. We've, come upon body parts, and my guys, some of them really had a tough time handling it.
What about the personal sacrifices you've had to make?
Well, away from my family, 12-hour days, 7 days a week.
I'm proud. That's what makes me wake up every single day. I know I have to wake up like 5 o'clock in the morning to get here at 7. I don't mind.
At first, they say we cheered them on as heroes. But as the city began to heal, some felt they became painful reminders of what we lost.
In the beginning, it was like, hey, we go in on the train, you want a seat, we'll give you a seat, no problem, Now it's people look at you and just put their head down.
Still, their devotion never wavers.
To be around these many guys and not see one fight, this is like really sacred ground.
The firefighters that we see here today, they're kids. They're kids.
Some of the saddest things you see here are firefighters' children digging for their fathers, and firefighter fathers digging for their children. And we will continue to do that here until there's no possibility of recovering remains.
And that day, Commissioner Shearer says, will be the toughest day of all when he has to tell the families of victims never found that the search is over. He says that will probably happen sometime in June. Ernie?
New York City and Port Authority police departments will honor their lost heroes tomorrow. NYPD officers will gather in front of their precincts and other department locations at 8:30 in the morning. They'll read a list of names of the 23 officers killed on September the 11th. The Port Authority will mark the 6-month anniversary with a minute of silence at 8:46 a.m., the moment the first hijacked plane hit the World Trade Center. Flags at Port Authority facilities will fly at half-staff all day. The agency lost 75 workers in the terrorist attack, including 37 police officers, the largest one-day loss of life by any police department in America's history.
On September 11th, so many people risked their lives to save others.
And tonight, Michael Pomerantz has the amazing story of one New Yorker who truly defines what it means to be a hero.
One of my reps screamed, "Oh my God," and the building starting to violently shake.
Tower 1 had been hit, and communications executive Michael Benfante was on the 81st floor.
I was just screaming at the top of my lungs to remain calm, stay calm.
Through the mangled remains of his office, Michael led his staff to the stairwell and started down. But on the 68th floor, something stopped him in his tracks.
I saw this woman in her motorized wheelchair. I didn't know who she was at the time.
She was Port Authority employee Tina Hansen. Michael now faced a tough decision. Should he continue with his team down the stairs to safety or stop to help this complete stranger and risk perishing in the flames?
I don't think I would have been able to live with myself unless I helped her.
As precious seconds ticked away, Michael and a co-worker, John Sakara, lifted Tina up in her wheelchair and began the long and perilous descent down 68 flights of stairs.
I was like, I'm going to get her out of here, I'm going to get myself out of here, and I'm going home. And that's all I thought about.
For an hour and 40 minutes, through smoke and debris, Michael and John carried Tina and her wheelchair down the 68 flights of stairs of Tower 1. But as Tina, Michael, and John reached the crowded bottom floors of Tower number 1, panic set in as rumors circulated that Tower 2 had just collapsed.
I didn't want it to enter my head, but I knew the situation wasn't getting any better. I always try to think about the light at the end of the tunnel.
Finally, daylight came. Michael and John rushed Tina to a nearby ambulance.
That's when she finally became upset. She started to cry, and she motioned for me to give her a hug. So I stepped into the ambulance and I gave her a hug.
After 100 death-defying minutes together, down 68 flights of stairs, Michael and John finally said goodbye to Tina. Just minutes later, they were running for their own lives as Tower 1 fell to the ground.
It's overwhelming. I just can't believe I'm here sometimes.
In the following weeks, Michael and John were celebrated as heroes.
The words, I'm glad to be here, as you can imagine, have taken on a whole new meaning.
But Michael says these happy moments can't overcome the sadness he still feels 6 months later.
I've been going to church every Sunday again, and sometimes when I'm in church, it's hard to keep it together. The firemen haunt me a lot, and the fact that I was going down and they were going up. You know, you talk about heroes and you talk about bravery. That's being brave.
As for Tina, Michael had never even asked her name. Luckily, they were reunited days later through a reporter at People magazine.
I'm really glad to know him. Yeah, I'm glad that he was there.
There were so many things that I could have done differently that would have made a difference of whether I'm sitting here today or not. Whether I decided not to help Tina and I got out at the time the Tower 2 was falling, maybe she was there to save us.
Michael Pomerantz, CBS 2.
And after the terror attacks, America faced another harsh reality. It was time for war. Tonight, signs the battle is slowing down, but far from over.
Then ratting out the terrorists who caught a nation off guard. See why 6 months later, the number of arrests is actually very small. Take a look now at the latest facts on the terrorist attacks. More than 2,800 people died at the World Trade Center site. 189 people died in the crash at the Pentagon in Washington, and 44 people were killed in the crash of United Flight 93 in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
And there is this to report also. About an hour ago, another victim recovered at Ground Zero. Strong winds shook our camera, but you can see workers removing the victim from the World Trade Center site there. There is no word yet on whether the victim may be a civilian, a police officer, or a firefighter.
In the war on terror tonight, military officials say the major fighting against Taliban and al-Qaeda forces is over, but the operation to weed out terrorism is as strong as ever. CBS 2's David Diaz joins us with the latest developments tonight. David.
Yes, thank you, Dana. Tonight, there's reason for optimism about the outcome of the latest campaign to root out al-Qaeda fighters in the area of Gardez that you see there on the map. At the same time, there's some disagreement among top U.S. officials on just how much more needs to be done. The battle was not over. Still, some 400 GIs, dusty and weary from the fighting, returned to their base in Bagram after a week of tracking and battling al-Qaeda and the Taliban.
How was it? It's more fun than words could possibly express.
In the frigid valley surrounded by snow-packed peaks, U.S. and coalition forces look to hunt down an enemy that has been driven into holes and caves. Finishing the job of forcing their surrender or killing them is risky and nerve-wracking.
Short, don't go in, stay back. Last guy, stay back.
The coalition forces came under fire. This 20-year-old private was hit and knocked down.
Sergeant Lopez grabbed me, dragged me down the hill, tried telling me, I was all right.
The bullet wound up lodged in his flak jacket. The soldiers were lucky they could stagger to a place where they could drop their packs.
Feels good to be back.
In the calm and security of their base, they could evaluate what they had just been through.
It's just like a training exercise. Doesn't seem any different. The only difference is they're trying to kill you.
Big difference. Well, tonight, no reports of any additional American casualties, but there are conflicting estimates from top officials as to how much longer the campaign to eliminate al-Qaeda will continue. Ernie?
Okay, thank you, David. 6 months after the attacks, hundreds of people are being detained. Several have been arrested, but only one man has been charged. CBS 2's Vince Dementri is live at Ground Zero now with the latest on the investigation. Vince.
Top law enforcement officials that I've spoken to who are or have been involved in the investigation say putting the pieces of this puzzle together is really still in its infancy. In fact, fairly quickly after the attacks, the FBI identified the hijackers. But after thousands of interviews and thousands of hours tracking cell phone, bank, and credit card records, agents have not found a single accomplice to the attacks within the United States, according to senior law enforcement officials. In fact, there are reports that Zacarias Moussaoui, the only person charged in the U.S. in connection with the terrorist acts, shows no evidence that he has made any contact with the 19 hijackers. Barry Maughan, who spearheaded the investigation for the FBI, was the head of the New York office. A 30-year veteran of the agency, he retired at the beginning of the month. Maughan would not talk about Moussaoui except to say that some of his activities were consistent with that of the hijackers. But Maughan was vocal about al-Qaeda, the group blamed for carrying out the attacks.
They were dedicated to their mission, and by that I mean they obviously kept below the law enforcement radar. The vast majority of them, if not all of them, were here legally. They didn't bring any attention to themselves.
That was Vince Dementri.
And we have more. It has been a topic of much debate. What should be done at the World Trade Center site? And who should be in charge of the rebuilding effort?
When we return, see how the fast pace of the cleanup has actually put the city behind schedule. While we look back over these past 6 months, many are looking ahead.
We visited Ground Zero recently, talking with some of the people who are dealing with a very difficult decision of what to do with the site.
They predicted a year. A year would have been enough time. Time to figure out what to do with the World Trade Center site. Who should do it, and when it should be done.
It was very difficult establishing a schedule back in September when this occurred. There were so many unknowns.
But after 6 months, the cleanup effort has been so successful, it outpaced the city's efforts to draft a master plan. We're now forced, maybe sooner than we'd like, to decide just what to do with these 16 acres.
6 months have passed since that fateful day. Volunteers and construction workers are just about gone. And standing here in this massive site, it's hard to imagine what was once here.
Ken Holden, the commissioner of New York's Department of Design and Construction, gave us a tour of the site.
Does it make it really difficult to think about what should be done here when there are bodies being removed almost on a daily basis?
I think it makes it extraordinarily difficult to try to think clearly and objectively about what the future is.
A future that everyone has an opinion about.
That's a form of defeat if you don't put them back.
Nick Barber from Middletown, New Jersey, says he likes the idea of a new landmark building.
What should it look like?
I think out of respect, it shouldn't look like the original.
But Nick's is just one opinion in a complicated tug of war over what to do with the site.
Many people come to this with tremendous emotional and powerful feelings, and I think it's hard to gain a consensus.
The Twin Towers were purchased last July for $3.2 billion. The owner now wants to replace the gaping hole in the city skyline with a bigger and better skyscraper. But not everyone shares his vision. consideration.
You're in Battery Park City and you strongly believe in this area.
I do.
You see some type of a memorial there as well as some buildings.
There should be a memorial.
Dozens of ideas and designs for the future are being tossed into the ring for consideration.
First and foremost, everyone needs to remember what happened here.
But for the families and friends of the victims who continue to honor the lives that were lost, it is impossible to think of building over the lost souls.
I think that they should make a park and not rebuild.
Ultimately, the final decision on what to do with the land lies equally in the hands of Mayor Bloomberg and Governor Pataki.
Everyone has their own opinion, but I think ultimately everyone will really realize that this is a major part of the city, and we will make this whole again, and we'll make it better.
And after spending the day at Ground Zero, whatever the agreement the city's task force for redevelopment comes to, it will perhaps be one of the biggest decisions made in the city's history. Dana.
We want to know what you think should be done with Ground Zero. We've set up a poll at our website, CBSNewYork.com. You can log on and tell us your ideas.
Well, we have seen unforgettable images tonight. Coming up, a look back at the 9/11 documentary that brought us pictures that we have never seen before.
Plus, we'll show you how the city is getting ready for tomorrow's memorial services.
Tonight's 9/11 documentary was made by two aspiring French filmmakers, the brothers Jules and Gideon Naudet. They had been filming the life of a probationary firefighter in Lower Manhattan when disaster struck. What followed is the extraordinary story that aired on CBS tonight. And the proceeds from the film are going to help support the Uniformed Firefighters Association Scholarship Fund.
6 months have certainly affected our city and its suburbs. Our Pablo Guzman is in Battery Park tonight with the story of what happens tomorrow. The globe that once stood at the Trade Center Plaza will be rededicated. Pablo.
It's been 6 months, Dana, and folks are still talking about it.
I think New York has changed because New York is a city of change, and I hope it's for the better.
I think everyone that was here, it's something that people won't forget.
People have short memories, unfortunately.
What we still see everywhere, of course, are the flags, a symbol now not only of patriotism, but of we're still standing. Of course, that flag is also being used to sell, and a lot of selling on scales both small and large. Step right up, photos here, the towers before and when it happened, and while there is, with good reason, an outcry against such profiteering from a disaster or from bootlegging the symbols of the NYPD and fire department, there is no denying that people want something to take with them, to have at home, to remember.
It's hard to forget.
6 months since September 11th, the routine has returned, but not yet there, if you know what I mean, as far as normal. That police checkpoint, for example. Is it for seatbelts, DWI, or looking for terrorists? Firefighters have taken on quite an aura. Heroes and, yes, sex symbols. Another reason for the bravest to strut, but at such a high cost. 6 months later, temporary memorials have been settled on, the most dramatic, of course, being these two columns of light. Kirsten Cole happened to catch a test last Wednesday, which will illuminate the skies for a mile into the night, starting tomorrow and for the next 31 days. And there's this memorial site, which will be dedicated tomorrow morning. Dana, Ernie?
Thanks, Pablo. We'll be covering that tomorrow.
Still ahead tonight, we'll take a look at the other stories making news this evening. For the first time in months, signs that Israel may be taking a step towards peace.
Plus a windy, cold day today, and tonight, are we in for more for the work week? CBS 2, your team weather is next.
In other news tonight, Yasser Arafat may soon be able to leave his West Bank headquarters, where he has been trapped since early December. Still, Israel continues to attack Palestinian targets in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. The missile strikes are in response to a suicide bombing in Jerusalem yesterday that killed 11 Israelis. However, tonight, Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon says that a ceasefire is now his government's primary mission. Israeli Foreign Minister Shimon Peres applauded the move towards peace.
I don't think that anybody here is so perfect that they can provide 7 days of perfection. No chance whatsoever. I don't think we can have 7 days completely without any shooting of bombs.
3 Palestinians and 1 Israeli were killed in scattered violence on Sunday. U.S. envoy Anthony Zinni is returning to the region for a 3rd round of talks. Dana.
In our Health Watch tonight, a new study says places that provide mammograms are closing at an alarming rate. The study was released today by Brooklyn, Queens Congressman Anthony Weiner. Research done by his office found 28 mammography centers in the 5 boroughs closed between December 1999 and December 2001. That means many women could face up to a 6-month wait for an appointment. Congressman Weiner says he plans to support legislation to increase the insurance reimbursement for mammography exams.
And tonight, the crew of the Space Shuttle Columbia says that they are surprised and they are thrilled with how well the repairs worked out on the Hubble Space Telescope. The astronauts set a new shuttle mission record, spacewalking for 36 hours while repairing the Hubble. Columbia's 11-day mission ends with a return to Earth on Tuesday, and the latest repairs should keep the Hubble telescope going until another crew delivers new cameras in 2004.
Wind. I don't think the wind was a problem up there.
I don't think so. A problem down here, that's for sure.
So cold. We have David Rogers and Janine Diadamo. We'll start with you, David.
Yeah, hey, I'll tell you, the wind was a big factor today. We had some pictures to show you from all across the tri-state area, and we had wind gusts in the upper 40s across a large part of our viewing area today, and it made those wind chills feel very, very frigid out there. There's a scene in Midtown today, and it looks like those winds are continuing across parts of the area. Let's take a look at the big number right now. Central Park, 31 degrees, crystal clear sky outside. But look at the wind. Out of the northwest, gusting up to 30 miles per hour. Humidity at 31%. Barometric pressure is currently steady. Across the 5 boroughs, temperature-wise, pretty close to near freezing. Baychester at 32, Sunnyside 33 degrees, Sheepshead Bay at 33. Elm Park has a current reading of 32 degrees. We'll pull back a bit, a little colder to the north and west. Pearl River at 29, and Franklin has a current temperature of 28 degrees. We got up to 59. That was early today. Temperatures have been falling. So far, we're currently at our low of 31 degrees, 0.08 of an inch of precipitation. Sunset 5:57, rises tomorrow morning at 6:15. Normal highs and lows 47, 34. There's the record high 71 and the record low 12 degrees. Let's head over to Weather Central and join Janine, who's got an updated look at some of the very gusty wind out there. Janine, what do you have for us?
David, 71 sounds really good after I see the video of the people shivering in the cold wind that we had today. Take a look at some of these peak wind gusts. They occurred a little bit after midnight as that line of heavier thunderstorms moved through early this morning. LaGuardia topping out near 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Central Park at 39. I mean, some of these are almost hurricane force when you think about it. We're talking about very strong winds. Here's what it feels like, and this is what it means to you right now outside. With the temperatures in the 30s, it feels much colder. Right now in Sussex, the wind chill value is 14. On your bare skin in New York City between the tall buildings, 19 is what it feels like. And here's the warning, folks. Tomorrow morning, the winds are also going to be gusty, and that means wind chill values as you head to work tomorrow are going to be in the single digits. So bundle up early tomorrow, especially at the bus stops. David?
All right, hopefully those winds will start to diminish as the day progresses. One thing we're going to see is dry conditions. And as you take a look at our exclusive Storm Tracker radar system, things pretty dry right now, but it looks like another couple of storms this week could bring some more needed precipitation to parts of the tri-state area. So let's take a look into the future with your Futurecast. Again, high pressure keeping us pretty windy tonight. As that area of high pressure starts to get closer to us, our winds will start to diminish tomorrow. Lots of sunshine expected, but then another system brings increasing clouds later in the day tomorrow. Tuesday, it looks like a cold front and a low pressure center will bring, again, another chance of some needed precipitation. So here we go. Your forecast in detail for the rest of the night tonight. Clear sky, windy condition, temperature-wise about 26 in the city, colder to the north and west. Kids on the bus stop tomorrow, if you're a student at Hudson Maxim Middle School in Hopatcong, New Jersey, look for sunshine. 15 to 27 tomorrow morning, and again, it's going to feel colder with those gusty winds. Here's your 5-day forecast. We'll get up to 43 tomorrow. Tuesday, increasing clouds, rain 44. Looks like we clear out on Wednesday, 49 degrees, and another chance for rain, guys, Thursday and Friday with temperatures getting back up into the 50s. So a couple opportunities this week is good rain. Yeah.
We need it. Thanks, David.
All right, who's in and who's out?
Selection Sunday. Gary Apple's here with Big Apple Sports.
All right, guys, they were sweating at St. John's when the NC2A tournament bids came out, but this was the Johnny's reaction when they got the good news. They were in and will open against Wisconsin in the East Regional Friday in Washington. Maryland, Duke, Kansas, and Cincinnati are the top 4 seeds. UConn is the 2nd seed in the East, and they will open against Hampton. NBA bottom line for the Knicks is they had no answer for the big fella Shaq. The Lakers' big man had 40 on 15 of 21 shooting. He gets the bucket and the foul right here. LA came from 15 back. They beat the Knicks 117 to 103. If you've wondered what Jeremy Burnitz might look like at his first home run trot in a Mets uniform, look no more. Burnitz going deep off Andy Bettis of the Cards. St. Louis won the game, though, 5-1. The Mets split squad beat the Braves. And Mike Mussina of the Yankees, 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 3 strikeouts, and a loss to the Red Sox. Trot Nixon going deep in the third. 2-1 Sox win it. The Yankees split squad tied the Twins, only in spring training. Hockey, good day for both the Devils and the Isles. In Dallas, the Devils shutting out the Stars. Second period, Sergei Brylin putting on the brakes, beating Tommy Albanine. The Devils win it 3-0. Marty Brodeur got his 54th shutout. At the Coliseum, the Isles made it look simple against Atlanta. Also in the second period, Sean Bates setting up Michael Pekka. 4-0 Islanders as they score right here, and they would go on to win it 6-1 as Pekka, who's had a great season, gets the goal. That is it. I'm Gary Apple, and that's Big Apple Sports, and abbreviated Big Apple Sports on this Sunday night. Guys.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay. And we'll be right back with scenes from September 11th forever in our memories.
You're watching a special edition of Nightcast, 9/11, Then and Now.
Let's take a closer look now at New York's faithful.
That's what they're calling the newest heroes from the World Trade Center disaster. The NYPD's K-9 unit has been working 24/7 since September 11th, each dog working a 12-hour shift.
And the dogs dig through pulverized concrete and steel, showing recovery workers where to start their search for remains. They not only provide closure for grieving families, but they are also a kind of therapy for emergency service workers. Doing a great job.
Good work. That's Nightcast. Thank you for being with us as we looked back at September 11th, then and now.
And we will have complete team coverage of the events marking the 6-month milestone tomorrow, starting at 5 a.m. I'm Ernie Anastas.
And I'm Dana Tyler. See you tomorrow. The Bravest is next. Good night.
That they have rest and peace now. That's all that matters.
The guys are very determined. They know what they have to do.
I'm proud to be an American now and forever.
All you had to do at any moment was watch the mayor. Watch how this guy behaved. Watch how this guy conducted himself. Watch what this guy did. Listen to what this guy said. Rudolph Giuliani is the personification of courage.
And people should know that they're not alone. There are a lot of people suffering with them, there to help them and support them.
There is only one requirement for any of us, and that is to be courageous.
We're digging, we're moving, we're climbing ropes, we're doing what we have to do. It's a group effort, and it's happening.
Because courage, as you might know, defines all other human behavior.
These guys are special guys.
We will rebuild the city, and it'll be better than it ever been before and stronger.
Well, we're very strong people, and we all stay together, and we're going to get through this, because the United States is a great country.
And if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the spirit of the United States, then I can't help you. I'm sorry.
I think everybody across the country has to do their part in getting this nation back to where it was.
We'll put this city back up on its feet again. Nobody can keep us down.
If you didn't believe it before, you can absolutely believe it now. New York City is the greatest city in the world.